Hello, all the inderesTV viewers and listeners. Rovio publishes Q1 results today, and here with me is Rovio CEO Alexandre Pelletier-Normand. And of course, we're going to talk about the results, but everybody knows that the biggest news around Rovio during the past few months has been the takeover offer, and now we know that the Segas is going to acquire Rovio, so we're going to talk about that deal. So great to have you here again, Alex, and would you like to first comment about the Q1 highlights?
Sure. And thank you for having me again. Yeah, I think the main thing that happened during the quarter, which was pretty exciting and interesting for us, was still the growth of Dream Blast. It's been remarkable, right? 67.7% now year on year, over 15% quarter on quarter. So this game continued to grow. And what I think is particularly interesting is that now, the run rate is around 100 million per year. We used to have only one game in this, ballpark, which was Angry Birds 2, and now having two, especially two games in very different part of the market, gives us more stability. So it's very good for the business. Aside from this, the month of January was a bit slow for us. We started slowly, and then the momentum started to pick up more in the February timeframe. So the other thing that I think is very interesting for us is just the progress of our new games, right? So we talked last time about Moomin Puzzle and Design. We said that we wanted to do a midterm retention test in Japan, and we did that test, and the results were really good. So it's encouraging. What we see as well is that people consume the content extremely fast. So now we released the game with 680 levels, and people consume them in a matter of weeks. So now we know that what we have to do, we just need to produce more levels en route to the global launch a little bit later. And then also exciting news happening now with Bad Piggies 2 reaching soft launch. This game is very highly anticipated by the fans. And what I like about it as well is that it's completely different to what we see on the market today. So, we're very interested in seeing those first results there. And of course, as you mentioned, that did not happen in Q1, but right after. But Sega announced a recommended cash offer to the shareholders of Rovio. So that was definitely big news for us.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit later. But first, I'm still curious because we all know that the mobile gaming market was pretty tough last year. And so how has the market performed now in the Q1? Has it still been declining, or how's the situation overall?
Yeah, you're right. Last year, remember, this was the first year of decline for the mobile gaming market ever. So it was about 10% decline. And if you remember as well, in Q4, the market started to stabilize a bit. We've seen a slight growth in the US market, which is the one that we look at the most. And now, in Q1, we saw 1.6% growth. So, it is modest, but it is growth. So it's going in the right direction. I think there's a lot still of uncertainty linked to the economy recovering. But in the long term, of course, we remain very bullish about the mobile gaming market. Let's remember that it is the biggest part and the fastest growing part of gaming, right? So it will continue to do so. Just, it takes some time to recover.
Yeah, exactly. Let's then talk about the Sega's takeover offer. So what are your initial thoughts about this deal?
Yeah, that's a very interesting deal. Obviously, for us, I just want to underline the fact that the offer has not even started yet. So it's good to underline that, our strategy that we worked on, our standalone strategy, work on, wide appeal games and wide appeal brand, focusing on the Angry Birds brand and trying to work on other brands as well. We believe in this still very much, right? So if this doesn't happen, we never know. We really believe in our strategy. With all that being said, when we look at Sega's strategy as well, there's a really good fit, right? So we are very experienced. We spent a lot of time working on mobile gaming. Sega spent a lot of time working on PC and console, so they can help us bring Angry Birds to other platforms, and we can help them bring their IPs to mobile gaming as well. So there's a really good fit. And as you know, they've both companies worked on, amazing brands that, outgrew gaming as well. They did movies, we did movies. They did series, we did series as well. So they have this respect for the brand as well. So that's when we think about the potential buyer for us, that's obviously something that comes to mind immediately. We care so much about Angry Birds. We want to, discuss with people that have the same, love and passion for those brands. So in that sense, I think there's a lot of mutual respect. So, this is a very potentially very interesting deal.
Yeah, it seems like a very, very good strategic fit. But if you still think about from Rovio's perspective and maybe from the overall Finnish gaming industry perspective, what do you think this deal will mean for those?
Yeah, I think, from a Rovio perspective, being part of a bigger family, a family that owns brands, is super interesting. I mean, we saw what we could do with Angry Birds. We managed to build Angry Birds over the years. And it's also, we talk very often about user acquisition. Having a brand like Angry Birds is extremely helpful in doing user acquisition. So, when we're thinking about playing with more brands that are very strong, but more of them, and, potentially helping them grow as we did with Angry Birds, it's more comfortable to be able to do that, right, with more brands. So that's why, from their perspective, I understand as well, they want to grow more in gaming, especially mobile gaming in the West, right? So that's why they want to leverage as well our strengths with developing IPs, our tools, our live ops capabilities. So when you think about it from those two angles, it sounds like a potentially very creative deal, right? It sounds like a true win-win situation.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about this consolidation. We know that there's been lots of consolidation in the gaming industry in overall, and if you look at listed mobile gaming companies, the number of them has been diminishing in the past few years. So what do you think about this development overall? And do you think, like, if we look at the stock market, is it like the right place for mobile gaming companies, or is it easier to say stay private?
Well, that's a really tough question, because I really think that those things depend on each companies. They also depend on market conditions. I think it could be good to become, public, to raise money and be able to, fuel the growth. With all that said, with the consolidation that we saw in the market, there's also a way to go direct, to be acquired directly when you're private. Perhaps there's more options now as there used to be. I think, there's no, one solution fits all here, and there's no rule. And I think it's something that owners of companies have to consider very carefully. It's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah. So now the Sega deal looks quite highly to go through. So this is probably our last interview. So there's not going to be more earnings interviews. So do you want to say any last comments or greetings to investors?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, keep in mind, the offer is not even started yet. So maybe it's a bit early to talk about the, potential outcome. Maybe a good reminder for everybody to know that, so the offer is scheduled to start on May 8th and is also scheduled to expire on July 3rd. So indeed, there is a chance that this is the last time that we discuss. And if it is, well, thank you for Inderes. Thank you for the team for the coverage, of course. And obviously, huge thanks to all Rovio's investors for the continuous support and loyalty over the years. It's been greatly appreciated.
Thank you very much, Alex. And I hope all the best for you and all the Rovians for the coming years.
Thank you very much.